All right, friends, let's settle in. Let's physically settle into this space where we have arrived. Let's emotionally settle into this moment that we have together, individually, collectively. And then mentally, let's settle in as well and just realize it is not our job in these few minutes that we have to turn off all of our thoughts. It is just our job to show up. And so let your mind be a source of inspiration in these minutes, not a source of frustration. And as your eyes gently close or cast down toward the ground, just start to find a rhythm of breath that works for you. Finding a length of an inhale and the length of an exhale that feels good to you physically, energetically, emotionally. Sometimes we use the breath to really fill us up and to make us feel inspired and full. And sometimes we use the breath to calm us and to settle us. Sometimes it's a little of both. And so whatever breath you need for the busyness that this day has brought you, however tired you feel, however many things are still on your list, find breath that takes care of you here and now. And as you're starting to settle, I just want to remind you, we are on this journey through the Yoga Sutras. And some days we'll just talk about one, and that will frame our practice and give us a tool for the days to come. And some days, maybe it'll be more than one. But our goal is that we begin to understand what this sage, Patanjali, he was called, gave us almost 3,000 years ago in this idea of yoga. There's so many tools, known and unknown, that are within these sutras, these statements, these aphorisms that he gave us. Some of these tools will be relevant for you today in this moment. Some will be tools that you'll tuck away. And as you go through life's journey, you'll find an attachment to those parts of their relevancy when you need them. It was not meant for us to digest and to memorize and to apply all of it. It was meant for us to just sit with it. And that's what we'll do across these coming days. And so tonight, Yoga Sutra 1, 2, and 1, 3. 1, 2, I have said to you before. I've said it in classes. I say it to myself often. And in Sanskrit, it says, Yoga, Sita, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga calms the fluctuations of our minds. Yoga, Sita, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga stills the agitations in our mind. Yoga, Sita, Vritti, Nirodha. Yoga tames the waves of our mind. And it doesn't really matter which translation that you use, and there's so many other ways of saying it. The idea is this path, these limbs, this life of yoga, it truly does give us the methodology, the steps to quiet those fluctuations. It never says that yoga will take the fluctuations away. It's validating that they're going to come. Our mind is so busy, so efficient, going so many directions. But the second sutra he gave us said yoga, meaning the breath, the movement, the meditation, the mindful practice, the treating yourself with kindness, with healthy habits, interacting with the earth in a way that you don't harm it or anyone on it. All that is yoga. And when we practice it, he tells us we will gain the tools to calm the fluctuations of our mind. And I like to tie Yoga Sutra 1, 2 along with the one right after when he says, then the seer can abide in his own nature. The seer, You and me. We are the ones who are doing the seeing. We see ourselves. We see ourselves with clarity. And what we learn along this path is the clarity is not always there when the fluctuations are all that we're paying attention to. That's why I like to tie these two together. And I want us to use our breath across these next few minutes as a way to calm the fluctuations, to still the agitations, to tame the waves, so we can see us. The real us, not the us that the world has tried to create, or even the us that we present to the world. Let's work in these few minutes on seeing us, the authentic, compassionate, good us. And so let's go back to that breath. I asked you to find a rhythm of breath that felt good. So now collectively, let's slowly inhale and slowly exhale. And slow breath in and slow breath out. And breathing in and breathing out. And one more time. And I would invite you in your mind's eye to picture standing on a beach, watching those waves come in. We've each either seen in person or maybe on television, you've seen the waves when they are crashing onto the shore with such force. And then all of a sudden there's a pause, and then the next crash comes. And I know that we each have had times in our life where that is what our mind looks and feels like. That you can barely take a breath before the next crash in your mind is coming. The next stimulus, the next thought, the next reaction. But then I would also ask you to look and imagine the ocean when those waves are beginning to quiet. If you've ever sat on the beach at the time when the waves are so gentle, it's the same ocean. It's the same water. But something has shifted energetically in whatever phase of the day that it's in. So now the fluctuations are less. The crashes are subtler. The agitations are fewer. And I hope that we could each say that we also can think of times when our mind was like that. That there are times when we feel the stillness in our thoughts. The fluctuations come, but they're tinier, less impactful. And I would propose that we live a life that experiences both of those. But the more consistent our practice is, our breath work, our meditation, our asana, our mindful practices toward ourselves and toward others, you will have more days and more minutes with those quiet waves coming in and out, and the crashing will be less. And as that begins to happen, you no longer feel like that person in the carnival or in the circus where you see that mirror and it's all distorted and you look at yourself and we laugh and we giggle. But there are sometimes we go through life and that's how we see ourselves. Distorted. We've forgotten who we are, who we're meant to be. And it's those crashing fluctuations of our mind that often cause that distortion to happen. My wish for each of us in this moment is that we look in the mirror and it's clear and it reflects back who we are. the true, authentic, good, compassionate us. Yoga can calm the fluctuations of our mind, and then the seer can begin to know his truest self. So let's just sit with those two ideas, with our breath. And what I would invite you to do, be a witness to the fluctuations in your mind. Don't let them be a source of frustration. Be a witness to them. And it's kind of like when someone in school used to poke at you and just try to get a reaction, and your mom would tell you, just ignore them. And you thought, oh, how difficult this is. But then all of a sudden you tried it, and the more you ignored, the less they poked, the less they bothered you, because there was no reaction. The same thing comes with those fluctuations. The less we follow them, the less they agitate us. Their power will begin to lessen, and they will begin to come less frequently. So tonight, in this moment, let's just witness, continuing to breathe in and out on this journey as the seer to truly know our authentic self. Yoga, Sita, Vritti Naroda. Yoga calms the fluctuations of my mind. Yoga, Sita, Vritti Naroda. Yoga stills the agitations of my mind. Yoga, Sita, Vritti Naroda. Yoga tames the waves of my mind. And it's through that practice that the seer, me, I, truly begin to see my authentic self. That is a practice for me. That is a practice for you. Sometimes it looks like breath work in the middle of your workday. Sometimes it looks like meditation on a Sunday night. Sometimes it looks like the compassion and the kindness that you extend to someone that may not on the surface seem to deserve it. Sometimes it looks like your asana practice on your mat. But no matter what face your yoga practice has, each moment, each day, it does have the power to calm the fluctuations of your mind and allow you to truly see the authentic you. No more distortions. No more influence of the world in who you are. The authentic you. Let that be how we start our week. showing up as the authentic us. My wish for you in these moments is the calming of the mind, the stilling of the waves, and the truth of seeing you. Namaste.